This episode is all about work and how Christians should operate within their work. The main idea and target statement for today is this: having a good work ethic is a prime way we worship God and honor others. Having a good work ethic is a prime way we worship God and honor others. I used to have a very poor work ethic. In fact, I was almost fired from my college work-study job. And if anybody deserved to be fired, it was me. I showed up late to shifts, tried to convince my supervisor to let me leave early as well, and that was if I showed up to the shift. There were times in which I would do a no-call, no-show, in which I wouldn't even let anybody know that I wasn't coming and just would not show up. And when I was there for the shifts, I just didn't follow instructions well. I was very lazy and was not at all a good worker. And I was like this until my yearly evaluation. I was with my supervisor and her boss as well. And at the end of the evaluation, they looked me in the eyes and said, "Nick, if you don't figure out how to display a better work ethic, you will be looking for another job." And it was that conversation plus a sermon that I heard by a pastor named David Jeremiah that helped me achieve and understand the concept that I provided for you guys up top, which is this: having a good work ethic is a prime way we worship God and honor others. Many of you listening may be a lot like me when I was in college. You love Jesus, you consider yourself a Christian, and you like people, but you're just a little lazy. And you have reasons for that, you think. Perhaps you're just not passionate about the position that you're in. Maybe you don't really enjoy your manager. Maybe your coworkers are a little crazy, a little frustrating. Maybe the job that you're in is not your career job, but it's just something that you're doing to get by. Either way, you find yourself in these situations or similar ones. You find yourself distracted in the middle of the workday. You find yourself showing up late and leaving early, not really caring about the outcomes or lack thereof of your work. That's a problem. Not only because you're cheating your organization, but also because you're cheating yourself, and most importantly, God. A good work ethic is worship to God, and not having one is no good. One more time. A good work ethic is worship to God, and not having one is no good. So I want to give you guys 3 thoughts on Christian work that will hopefully inspire you to be the hardest worker at your job for the glory of God. Starting off with number 1, which is this: we work for God, not people. We work for God, not people. Colossians 3, chapter 23, talks about how our ultimate authority is not our direct supervisor, it's not the GM, it's not the shift manager, it's God. Which means this practically: regardless of how mean your manager is, crazy your coworkers are, or insane the customers can be, you are called to give it your all, not for any of them, but for God, recognizing that our ultimate authority, that our supervisor is our Savior, and that all of our efforts should be for His glory, not based on people's actions. That's number 1. We work for God, not people. Number 2, a weak work ethic dishonors God and those around you. A weak work ethic dishonors God and those around you. If a strong work ethic is a way to worship God, then doing the opposite dishonors Him. I would say it's even a sin to a certain degree, right? Because it's operating in contradiction to what God has called us to do in the Bible in Colossians chapter 3. Showing up late, putting in poor effort, slacking off on the job, and so on are all examples of a weak work ethic, which does nothing but result in negative ramifications for all involved in the workplace and your relationship with God. Don't dishonor God. Don't have a weak work ethic. That's number 2. Number 3, the last one, is this: Christians should be the hardest workers in the room. Christians should be the hardest workers in the room. Many Christians miss this. I know I did for a long time. We focus so much on being kind, generous, and forgiving that we forget that we're called to be tenacious in our work ethic, to not only get the job done, but to do it well. to show up early, take on the hard tasks that no one else wants to do, set goals and reach them, encourage and lead our coworkers, and ultimately set the standard for the organization. That's what Christians are called to do, to be the hardest workers in the room. So let's do a quick recap so the way we don't forget any of the content. Remember the main point. Having a good work ethic is a prime way we worship God and honor others. And the 3 subpoints under that: we work for God, not people. A weak work ethic dishonors God and those around you. And Christians should be the hardest workers in the room. All in all, keeping this perspective that work ethic can be worship to God should propel us to give it our all every day as we work, to show up early, to get results, to make things happen, knowing we do it for the glory of God.